And you can have it all with your membership in the Greater Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce.
This is Strictly Business, presented by the Greater Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce. Sponsored in part by the law offices of Young Wooldridge, San Joaquin Community Hospital.
And welcome back to Strictly Business. I'm Nathan Ollie, Manager of Government Affairs at the Greater Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce, and it's time for the closing bell. The California Chamber of Commerce is helping employers build their HR muscle at several topic-packed training sessions around the state that focus on the employment life cycle. Cal Chamber's employment law experts will also give attendees valuable insight into 2015 cases and regulations that may have an impact on your workplace policies and practices. The seminar will be held at the Piccadilly Inn, 2305 West Shaw Avenue in Fresno, this Thursday, January the 8th from 9 to 4. The cost is $400 per person, and you can register online at store.calchamber.com. The Greater Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce has a couple of upcoming events. For more on those, here's Melissa Rossiter. She's the Manager of Marketing Communications at the Chamber News Desk. Good morning, Melissa.
Good morning, Nathan. Thank you. So we have several events to tell you about this morning. First, make sure you start off your new year by getting rid of all your unwanted electronics at the Chamber's e-waste recycling event, which will be held Saturday, January 17th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Chamber office located at 1725 I Street. Light bulbs, fluorescent tubes, and alkaline batteries will not be accepted. Proceeds will benefit Chamber programs. For more information, call the Chamber at 661-327-4421. You don't want to miss the Chamber's 2015 Annual Dinner Gala and Board Installation Dinner, which will be held Thursday, January 22nd at the Doubletree by Hilton, located at 3100 Camino del Rio Court in Bakersfield. No-host cocktails begin at 5:30 p.m., with dinner and program beginning at 6:30 p.m. For more information or to register, call the Chamber at 661-327-4421 or online at bakersfieldchamber.org. And don't miss the next social media therapy session, where you can learn how to use WordPress to change the way you market your business. Dustin Pitcher, Technical Director with the Marcom Group, will explain WordPress, the world's most widely used content management system for websites, and the innovative ways you can use it to help your business. The session will be held Wednesday, January 28th at the Chamber office, located at 1725 I Street. Check-in and networking begin at 11:30 a.m., with the program running from noon to 1 p.m. A box lunch will be provided. Cost is $30 for members, $60 for non-members. To register, call the Chamber at 661-327-4421 or online at bakersfieldchamber.org. Nathan, that's all I have. I'll toss it back your way.
All right. Thanks, Melissa. SCORE will be hosting a webinar called Easy Accounting for Business Owners and Real Estate Investors. Join best-selling business author Dominique Molina, CPA, to learn the accounting tricks and traps you need to know to keep more of the money you make. The webinar will be held Thursday, January 15th from 10 to 11 a.m. The webinar is free, and you can register online at score.org. Make sure to register for the Chamber's upcoming Labor and Employment Law Update Forum on Tuesday, January 13th at the Chamber office located at 1725 I Street. Check-in and networking begins at 7:30 a.m. with the program running from 8 to 10. Dan Klingenberger of LeBeau-Thelen will help employers navigate the ins and outs of the new laws that just hit the books on January 1st. And Mr. Klingenberger is here now to talk about what we're going to look forward to at the forum. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, talk a little bit about, if you would, what attendees can anticipate at Tuesday's session.
You bet. The program that we have on the 13th will go through all of the most recent changes to California employment law. And every year in California, we see the legislature be very busy passing new pieces of legislation that employers of all sizes have to know about and contend with. And it's a challenge for California employers because there isn't any great resource that they can go to keep up to date on these kinds of changes that are very important to their business. So what we'll do on January 13th is to go through the legislative changes. We'll go through the important case law decisions that were issued in 2014, and we'll look at things that are happening on the federal government side as well.
Okay. Just as a sneak preview, just maybe one example of an interesting new law that employers have to contend with now that the new year's started?
You bet. One of the key pieces of new legislation that will go into effect in 2015. Now, this one won't go into effect until July 1st, 2015, so employers have a little bit of time to get ready for it. But it is the mandatory paid sick leave law that California has now established, and it applies to employers of all sizes, basically, who now will be required to provide mandatory paid sick leave to its employees, and not just to full-time employees. This new law applies to part-time and temporary employees as well.
Okay. So why is it important, besides the obvious, for a business owner? What's the importance of being refreshed on labor laws? Like I have a poster that I hang in my break room. Isn't that enough? Why do I, as a business owner, need the training?
I think it's important for employers to understand not just what's maybe on a new poster, and there will be, in fact, a new poster associated with this mandatory paid sick leave, as a matter of fact, but it's important to understand how to actually comply with the new laws, because most of the new laws that are going into effect have some type of penalty or downside to non-compliance, and that might be an employee being able to bring a claim and recover attorney's fees. It could be that an employee can can file a claim and recover some type of penalties. And so I think it's important for employers to know how these changes are going to impact their business, whether they may have to modify their employee handbook or establish policies that they publish to their employees to address these changes.
Okay. So you mentioned policies. You'd recommend attending a seminar like this and staying abreast of the HR laws in sort of in conjunction with your annual policy reviews, handbook reviews, those sorts of things?
Absolutely, because so many of the changes in the law do encourage employers to make changes. And we talked for a moment about the mandatory paid sick leave. You know, an employer may, for example, either not have a sick leave policy presently, or perhaps has a vacation and or sick leave policy, or maybe they have a PTO policy where they've kind of merged their vacation and sick leave together. Well, all those employers, whether you have a policy now or have some version that I just described, this new law will impact those policies, and you need to understand how to modify them to be in compliance. And that's just, of course, one example.
Okay. What is the burden of responsibility for an employer? What am I required to do to let my employees know of these changes? And what's my responsibility?
That depends on the various pieces of legislation. Some new laws require that employees be informed of the changes. Some do not. You know, for example, there's a modest change to the law regarding time off. It's a type of a leave law for people who volunteer to do emergency rescue assistance, or to be a volunteer with the fire department, police department, things like that. Well, that's a modification to the leave laws that I'll talk about on January 13th, but it doesn't require that the employees necessarily be informed about that change. So it really varies depending on the particular law, whether the employer has an obligation to affirmatively publish that change to their employees.
Okay. And last question as we wrap up. Who should consider attending, or who should I, if I'm a larger business, who should I send to this? My HR pro, my office manager? Who is this for?
If you are a business that's large enough to enjoy the benefit of a full-time HR person or someone who wears that hat, then absolutely that person should attend so that he or she can stay abreast of these changes. If you're a smaller organization and you don't have a full-time HR person, then whoever is wearing that HR hat, whether it's your office manager, your bookkeeper, the owner of a company, your CFO or controller, the owner of the company, anyone who has a responsibility for making sure the company stays in compliance with its employment law obligations are great candidates to attend, and I really would encourage them to do so.
Okay. Well, Dan Klingenberger, LeBeau-Thelen, thank you very much for coming in. And again, you can hear more information from Dan on the new laws affecting businesses in 2015 next Tuesday, January 13th at the Chamber office, 1725 I Street. The check-in and networking begins at 7:30 a.m. with the program running from 8 to 10 a.m. The cost is free for Chamber members, $40 cost for non-members. Again, it's at the Chamber, 1725 I Street. For more information, contact Jordan Green at 661-327-4421, or you can email him at jgreen@bakersfieldchamber.org. Also, if you need one of those new 2015 labor law employment posters, the Chamber can help you with that as well. Give us a call, 661-327-4421. That's it for Strictly Business for this Monday, January the 5th, 2015. My thanks to Robin Paggi, Drs. Levi Dansby and Russell Paul, and Dan Klingenberger for joining us this morning. For all of us at the Greater Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce, I'm Nathan Ollie, and have a great week.